Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. The PNP says they have yet to receive an official resolution on the adjustment of curfew in the metro. This means that the adjusted curfew hours of 8 p.m. to 5 p.m. might not even be in effect just yet. To enlighten us on this matter, we have with us PNP spokesperson Ildebrandi Osana. He's joining us via StreamYard. Good afternoon, Brigadier General. Let's get right into it. Has the PNP received, since earlier, the necessary paperwork on the adjustment of curfew?
Good afternoon, sir. Yes, sir. We already have received the MNC resolution, Metro Manila Council resolution that was signed actually by all the mayors of the Metro Manila Council. And this was received last night. And we readily implemented the imposition of the 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew hours.
All right, just to clarify, as of today, the curfew hours in place are 8 to 5 p.m. for all residents of the NCR, correct?
Yes, sir. That started actually since last night.
All right, thank you. Moving on to another topic, we're talking about how police officers have been treating quarantine violators. Will maximum tolerance be observed, and what consequences will quarantine violators face moving forward?
Well, they just simply have to comply with the minimum public health standards. They don't have to worry about being arrested because that is not a requirement of the GPNP himself, even though they violated certain ordinances, unlike last year. So in this case, they just simply will be warned, and then some may also be subjected to fines in accordance with the local government ordinances.
Right, sir, we have recently reported about certain police officers and barangay watchmen who have been implicated in abuse and maltreatment of quarantine violators. What penalties are they set to face?
Well, administratively, they will have to face sanctions in as much as they violated certain administrative rules in relation to what transpired in General Trias. The chief of police and the two police officers under General Trias were actually being investigated now administratively in relation to a supposed physical exercises that they imposed upon the violators, which actually resulted in, among others, the death of one of the violators. And in the case of the barangay tanods, these were being investigated now by the police. I guess a case has already been filed against them for homicide.
Right, you mentioned that they are under investigation. How are these investigations ongoing for these certain officers who are said to have stepped out of bounds in punishing quarantine violators? Do we have a tentative date as to the resolution of this investigation?
Well, so far, this is the only case that we actually have been filed against our police officers in relation to the imposition of the MECQ over the last 2 weeks. And we probably may anticipate within the next several days, the case will already have reached the Office of the Regional Director for the recommendation of appropriate administrative sanctions over the erring members of the General Trias Police, including the Chief of Police in this case.
All right, thank you for those insights and for your time today. That was Brigadier General Ildebrandi Osana, spokesperson of the PNP.
Thank you.
About 2,000 traditional and modern jeepneys are now allowed to ply 62 routes in Metro Manila. To get the latest situation on the ground, Gerard de la Peña is joining us live from Quezon City. Gerard, with the addition of 2,000 units, how many jeepneys are actually operating as of today?
Well, Charles, right now there are about 37,000 jeepneys flying the Metro Manila streets right now, and this comprises about 83% of the total number of registered jeepneys pre-pandemic. So we can imagine that there are more jeepneys flying the roads right now, but we've gathered from the information that we've gathered so far from various jeepney organizations, they said that not everyone's really on the road as of this point. Sorry.
Yeah, but then, Gerard, there was some buildup on EDSA earlier this morning. How's the traffic situation doing now?
Well, Charles, the only, as far as Quezon City is concerned, right now, as you can see from where I'm standing right now, traffic is light to moderate here at the Quezon City, Quezon Memorial Circle. And yeah, you're right. This morning, we passed by the northbound lane of EDSA, and we've noticed that traffic is heavy right in front of Pioneer Street in Mandaluyong City because of this problem with the Manila water pipe that is being repaired there right now. Sorry.
Yeah, thanks for that, Gerard. But did operators and drivers experience any sort of challenges today, aside from the lack of commuters?
Well, Charles, as you've mentioned, that is the biggest challenge that the PUV drivers are experiencing right now. It's the lack of commuters. That's why many of them are not really keen on mountain trips today because even the LTFRB mentioned that only authorized persons are allowed to board public transportation. Most of the people are in isolation or in their homes right now. So there aren't really much commuters at this point, Charles.
Right, Gerard, you mentioned the LTFRB. How do they intend to respond to these issues?
Well, the LTFRB is pushing for this program called this program. I forgot the name of the program at this point. Well, this is basically this basically involves the LTFRB paying jeepney drivers 11 pesos per kilometer for every kilometer that they travel. So regardless of whether they have passengers or not, they will be paid as long as they mount trips. So yeah, I remember the program now. It's called Service Contracting Program. So the LTFRB is encouraging everyone, all of the jeepney drivers, especially here in Metro Manila, to enroll into this program.
All right, that is some good news for our drivers. Thank you. That was Gerard de la Peña reporting live from Quezon City. The vaccine expert panel allays fears over the use of Sinovac vaccines. This comes after a Chinese official admitted that the China-made vaccines had lower efficacy against COVID-19. Speaking with the chiefs, vaccine expert panel head Nina Gloriani expressed her disappointment over the official statement. Gloriani explained that the official only cited the study conducted in Brazil, which resulted in a 50.6% efficacy rating for healthcare workers who had higher exposure to the virus. In an interview with Sa Totoo Lang, vaccine expert panel member Ron Jean Solante also assured those jabbed with Sinovac that they have nothing to worry about.
Yun yung comment ng sa Chinese na authority, that's their observation. But for now, hindi pa nga tayo naka 1 million ng bakuna, sila ilang million na silang nagbabakuna, no? So that's the concern na they're raising. Pero sa ngayon, sa atin, ang importante ngayon, makakuha tayo ng maraming bakuna. I mean, at this point in time, we have to be logical in our interpretation of ano itong mga sinasabi sa ibang bansa, no? Because at this point, yung momentum dapat natin ang isipin na makapagbakuna at maraming mabakunahan with Sinovac.
On now to sports news. The PBA is looking to host a friendly game against China amid the rising tensions in the West Philippine Sea. PBA Commissioner Willie Marshall said that this was a good way to, quote, get back some semblance of normalcy between the two nations. Although Marshall admitted that they need to work together with the Samahang Basketball ng Pilipinas to fulfill this goal. Recall that PBA Chairman Ricky Vargas first wished for a best-of-7 series between the PBA players in Beijing to jumpstart the season during the league's 46th anniversary. He also received the full support of PLDT Chairman and sports patron Manny Pangilinan. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us again later at 1 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.